What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I am 1 minute late, but I have a good reason. I am still on the phone with my buddy Yankee Tinker Outdoors. What's up, Matt? How's it going? Okay. He is trying to figure out the whole Google Hangouts thing, and you've heard me kind of express some displeasure with YouTube Live before. Some of that has to do with how difficult it seems like it is at times to set up a live stream and all that good stuff. Oh, I think he's here. Hey, Matt, I think you're here.
Can you see me?
I can't see you. So we are working out some of the bugs, but we're getting to get it figured out. There he is. All right. So today I have a special guest with me. This is my friend and fellow YouTuber. This is Matt, and he runs the channel Yankee Tinker Outdoors. Say hi, Matt.
What's going on?
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. So before
we just talked.
I know we've been on the phone for the last 20 minutes trying to figure this stuff out, but it's all good.
PC or die.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, so before we get really diving into the stuff that Matt's got going on and talking about fishing and outdoors and his channel and just all that stuff, I have a couple of announcements. Couple as in two. I think it's just two, and some stuff that I'm really excited about. The first announcement is. It has to do with Pond Hopper Nation. You guys might be familiar. I am a team member with Pond Hopper Nation. They are doing a fishing tournament, and this is open for everybody nationwide. It's a length-based tournament. It's a partnership with Fat Sack Outdoors, so you have to download an app. It is for bass, of course, but it's January 25th to February 4th. Anybody can do it. And it's pretty cool. So I have a link in the description down below where you guys can find out more information in their on their Facebook page, on Pond Hopper Nation's Facebook page. So January 25th to February 4th, fish from anywhere. You can fish from a boat, a kayak, the bank, whatever you want. It's going to be pretty cool. So definitely check that out. The other thing that I want to chat about really quick is I've been working pretty hard behind the scenes for the past month or so with my good friend Dean. You might have seen some videos of him and I fishing up in Oregon. And Dean and I have started a podcast. So the podcast is it's about fishing from a kayak, and it's about targeting multiple species, all of that good stuff from the kayak. And it's really cool. We have 6 episodes up. A couple of them talk about targeting trout. A couple of them talk about targeting bass. One of them, Hank from Bass Geek, the channel Bass Geek, came on and talked to us about targeting deep bass. We've just got all sorts of cool episodes up. Magic Yacker came on and talked to us about redfish. So I have links down below. I would really love it if you guys are into fishing or kayak fishing. Would really love it if you guys could check that out. It's available on iTunes, Stitcher, and a few other Android players. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have as far as getting information out and announcements and stuff like that. So let's see. Matt, do you have anything going on right now? What's going on, man? What's a good word?
I don't really have anything going on. I just the end of the year, I won't get too much into my personal life, but at the end of the year, I sold my business and I merged with another company, and it was kind of hectic, and I had some tragedy in my life. I lost a good friend to something, and end of the year, just for my business in general is always kind of crazy. In the beginning of the year, it's kind of the same way. So I'm really excited. I'm actually going to get out on a tournament on this Sunday with the Folsom Bass team. And Folsom Bass team is something I belong to for the last 3 years. And They essentially, obviously, are based in Folsom, California, and I joined it because it's a boat club, and you don't have to have a boat. You always get paired up with somebody different. It's a good way to meet people, and I met a ton of actually really good friends. Rich Mendoza, who's a good friend of mine now, who's the founder and proprietary of Canopy Grenades.
Right.
That's where I met him. Danny Sozi, a bunch of guys in the NorCal area. Really just kind of took me under their wing. So the cool thing about it is I get to fish out of bass boats that I don't pay for. And, I get to fish all the fisheries in Northern California. So I'm looking forward to that. We're fishing Berryessa this Sunday. And hope to have a better showing than the last time I was there. So.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole weekend, I think in California was tough for pretty much everybody that was fishing that weekend. You were up in Berryessa. It was a tough weekend.
The lakes in Northern California, they really have to do the turn, right? So 50, 55 degrees is when the lake really starts to turn over. And if you're not familiar with, you know what a turnover is, but anybody who's watching, if you don't know what a turnover is, it's literally where the thermocline switches. And so it's actually colder at the top and it's warmer at the bottom of the lake. So the fish start heading down lower and they're more suspended about 15, 20 feet. So, when you and I were at Comanche is a prime example, the water was just still too warm. So those fish they weren't packed up. They weren't like wolf packed up, and you really had to search for them and look for them. So, and we all know how I did on the Comanche trip with you.
Right.
So
let's hit the comments really quick. Just say hello, Chalsair. I can never say your name, buddy. Good to see you, Dustin Littrell. Sorry, I corrected myself. Dustin Littrell. Thanks for joining us, dude.
Yeah.
Dustin is a guy that Matt and I both have fished with before. Got Magic Yacker. I was just talking about that dude. Kaylin, what's up, Kaylin? And yeah, Dustin, I got your message about the podcast. When you think of some content you'd like to hear, just, shoot me a message and let me know. Brian McAfee, the podcast is called Yak Tactics, and YAKTACT. I don't know. Yak Tactics. And kind of one word, we'll find it in search. Ripline Fishing, what's up, man? How's it going? 206, what's up, brother? How you doing? And Showsir Fox said, you were right, Chris. I did like my battle box this month. He asked me if I thought he would like it, and he told me where he lived, and I said, there's a good chance you will like it.
Where does he live?
I believe it was New Mexico or Arizona.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was somewhere in the Southwest. So, and Ripline Fishing said, finished up putting the setup on the yak. Now he's chilling. That's cool. Chaucer says, I want to go fishing with you guys. I just can't afford to drive out there. Yeah, that's kind of an impediment. There's a ton of people that I'd love to fish with, like out in the West Coast or the East Coast, that it's just tough to make it out there. It's a plane trip, PGH Bottom Feeders, what's up? Horatio, what's up, brother? How you doing? Hope you're stateside right now and everything's cool. Fireman Swanee, good to see you, brother. Name pronunciation is Saucer with the ch sound. So Chaucer. All right, Chaucer. I got it. I got it, brother.
That's good.
So I guess, man, there's so many angles we can go with this little episode today. You and I have so much in common, and
yeah.
It's kind of freaky. Like, I stumbled upon your channel and I honestly thought, like, is this guy like mirroring my channel? He kayak fishes.
So oddly enough, I'm not mirroring your channel by any means, but so the way that I got into YouTube was like, I'm a gear junkie. I have been since I was a kid. I think since I was like probably 10 years old, my lifelong dream was to own like an outdoor store, and it was to focus it on skiing and hiking and being outdoors. And so being a gear junkie, one of the greatest places in the world to get like an honest review is YouTube. And about 3 years ago, I was prepping to go slot canyoneering in Utah with a high school buddy of mine. And
Right.
when I had moved from, so, you know, real quickly, when I lived in New York City, I lived in New York City for 14 years. And all of my technical gear and hiking gear and stuff like that was up in a house in Vermont. And when I moved from New York City, I moved directly down to Florida. And I left all that technical gear up in Vermont. And then my wife and I moved to California. And so I had no gear out here. And my father, God bless him, was just kind of like, "Oh, I'll ship this stuff to you." I'm like, that's going to be thousands of dollars. And more importantly, at the time we were living in an apartment, I'm like, I don't know where the heck I would put it. So I started doing researching on tents. And your mug came up. And literally is so crazy because I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. He seems pretty lighthearted, you know. And so I started watching YouTube videos, and your videos kept coming up and coming up and coming up. And so, and I'm pretty sure, like, you know, I was just like, you know, the thing about it is that I kind of said to myself, I'm like, I know and I study and I research every piece of gear that I buy, that, you know, I'm pretty knowledgeable on the stuff. I worked in a ski shop for years. I did work in an outdoor store for years, and I just really love it. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like at this time, my channel's not really reflecting that aspect of my life. But, you know, I've done major sections of the Appalachian Trail, of the Long Trail. I've done weeks at a time. And I've hiked and backpacked and canyoneered and mountain climbed pretty much my whole life, except for the last 4 years. And
Right.
so
Right.
that's kind of how I came across your channel. And I think you and I had a conversation about this. The way that you started too was kind of like you were watching these videos doing gear reviews. I'm like, well, I can do it better. And my instinct wasn't that I could do it better, but like I have insight on this stuff too. And I think there got to the point where I was just kind of like, I kind of wanted to start expressing myself a little bit more because I shared this with you just recently, but like I've been a writer pretty much my whole life.
Right.
I shared you my music blog, and like I stopped doing that. And you know, a lot of actually nobody except you out here knows this. Like I had it was semi-successful music blog on hard rock and heavy metal. And so at the time, you know, it really consumed me. And I was living in New York City at the time, and I was going to like 4 concerts a month, and I was really involved in the scene, and I was getting involved in it, and it was just kind of like something I was really passionate about. And so YouTube kind of allowed me to get that creative side back because I had just stopped writing kind of out of the blue. And it wasn't for a reason or anything like that. It's just we get older and work gets in the way, or we develop new passions. And
Right.
when I moved out here, I fished my whole life, but not the way that I fish now. Like I fished, and when I lived in Florida for on and off for 12 years. And so we would go out and we go shark fishing, and we go, you know, fishing for reds and stuff like that. And we go fishing for snook. But that was like a once every other weekend, you know, throw some beers down and kind of troll around the Gulf of Mexico. And when I moved out here, what ended up happening was we moved to an area called Folsom, and in Folsom where our house was, there was this pond that was literally right across the street. And I'd walk my dog around the pond, and I'd see all these people just kind of like walking out there with sticks. I'm like, what are these people doing? There can't be fish in that pond. And then I asked, you know, this guy one day, I go, what are you doing? He's just like, we're fishing for bass. And I'm like, there's not bass in there. Lo and behold, like 2 weeks later, this guy pulls, you know, this random kid who must be like a teenager, pulls like this 3-pound largemouth bass out of this little tiny pond. And for anybody who lives in the Folsom area, it's the pond that is by the Folsom High School. And so I just kind of walked inside, and I told my wife, I said, I think I'm going to start fishing again. And this is before I joined the Folsom Bass team or anything like that. And so I went to Walmart and I bought an ugly stick. And cool. I literally just spent $40. It turns out that my wife's cousin used to be a pretty popular tournament angler out here. And we went fishing at an area called Rancho Marietta. And,
hey, I have to interrupt you really quick.
Yeah.
Okay. While Matt's telling his life story, I'm kind of scamming the comment section. And Matt, if you want to follow in on the comment section, you actually have to do it from your phone. Okay, great. I just want to say really quick, shout out to John Z, the John Z Project. John Z is one of my long time subscribers, and he is actually a moderator when I do live streams. But I never tell him when I'm going to do them. Like, I am so horrible at having a moderator. Like, what's the point? You know, I never tell the guy. So, yeah. So John Z, he is spamming the comment section with links, and that's his job. So,
and my buddy Justin's telling him to quit spanning.
I know. So I just saw that and wanted to throw it out there. So
no, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, so my life story is almost over.
Okay. Go for it. Finish up your life story. Then we'll jump back over to the comment section and say what's up to some folks.
Yeah. So basically what ended up happening was ended up fishing with my wife's cousin at a really kind of like loaded pond. And that's where really kind of the addiction started again, because I had sold all my saltwater gear before we moved to California. And so next thing you know, I was down at Sportsman Warehouse buying a Fenwick. And I met a guy down there, and he introduced me to a bunch of other people, and I got in Folsom Bass team. And then I bought a kayak probably about a year and a half later, and then here we are, pretty much. All of my friends are from fishing out here. All the people that I like, I should say, because we moved out here, and I'm from the South, and people out here were just not my cup of tea until I started fishing with guys. And so that's pretty much that's up to speed for where we are. So and I met you through here.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because I kind of mentioned how I thought you were kind of mirroring me, because you were doing battle box unboxings and that type of stuff. And I thought that was kind of interesting. You did some snowshoeing, you did some kayak fishing, and then we finally hooked up, went fishing together, and we've been fishing together quite a few times now.
Yeah, we have. And the battle box thing came about because the battle box thing was just kind of like, I was looking at that subscription box when it was probably like mission like 20 is when I really kind of got hooked on it. And I was just like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is great. And it was a great way for me to build up my gear even more. And it was like new and interesting stuff. And it was still like, to me at the time, was still just a great box. And everybody was doing unboxing videos at the time. So I was just kind of like, screw it, I'm going to jump on board and start doing unboxing videos. And one of the things that, you do a very good job with the unboxing videos is that you're honest about it. A couple of the guys that, I'm a little more harsh. And I think you and I told you this. Like,
wait a second. Haven't you seen the video where I took an axe to a box? Like, I'm pretty harsh too.
But like, yeah, it's true. And so I think the unboxing thing for me was kind of going back to like the whole YouTube thing. Is just like, you watch all these videos on how to grow your channel, right? And they always like upload content and do things and, kind of like tag along with other people and try to build a community. And that's what I was really trying to do. And, my life just isn't fishing, and I kind of wanted to incorporate other things in it. And the battle box thing was a good thing for me to do because, like I said, it introduced new gear. And I'm a very opinionated person. I think most people know that by now, but, and I like to tell my honest opinion on things. So.
Right. So you kind of mentioned why you started. I lost my train of thought. Why you started YouTube was because you felt like you had something to offer and you wanted kind of like an outlet because you weren't writing anymore. Is that pretty much nail it down?
I mean, I think I was a creative person my whole life, and when you get older, that stuff kind of goes away, and it was kind of bothering me. And then, it was a creative outlet at first, and it kind of snowballed into something else. And I realized that I really started enjoying it. And that's kind of like part of like honing a craft. I think I'm one of those guys that just loves to learn things, and learning how to edit and how to shoot properly and, how to market your channel and how to grow your channel. Those things are interesting to me. And that's probably because I've I've been a small business owner, and I've done startups and advertising since, for the last 14, 15 years of my life. So I've always been kind of a startup guy, but this allowed me to kind of involve things that I was really passionate about. And like I said, I really do believe that, like, I know more than most people, not because I'm smarter, but just because I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to stuff like this. It's like,
you're so arrogant.
Yeah. It's like most people are morons, no, but like, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I thought I had something to say and I wanted to add my 2 cents in, and commenting wasn't cutting it for me anymore.
Right.
But it was initially started because of the creative aspect. It was kind of lacking that, and it's helped with that, and it's odd because when I couldn't really get out and fish and couldn't make like videos outside of my office for the last like 2 weeks, like it really starts to bother me. I'm like, I really want to put together like some really good content. And because, you want to learn from your earlier videos. Like I look at my earlier videos and there's some things that I still do now that I wish I could correct, but like, I don't know.
So one thing about Matt, the Yankee Tinker Outdoors, that's interesting is he likes to shoot one take videos. He doesn't like to do a lot of editing. Hey, dude, I have a question. Do you have headphones by any chance?
Do I have headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't hook it up to this computer. Why?
Okay. I'm just getting my voice bouncing back. Anyways, we'll just deal with that. He doesn't like to do multiple take videos. So one thing that I like to do when we were camping, he was trying to do some gear reviews and stuff like that. So I just decided I'm going to interrupt him as many times as possible so that he has to restart the whole thing. So that was kind of fun. I guess that was a little bit of a quack move. So yeah. Where did you go? He's gone. He left. Oh, there he is. Is
that better?
I don't know.
Is that better?
Hello?
Oh, see now.
Oh gosh, that's so much better.
Is it really?
Yeah, so much better.
That works.
Yeah. So let's see if anybody in the chat has any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Matt, for myself? It could be general questions, camping, fishing, channel related, I don't know, whatever. And today's video is brought to you by Hotel Tango Bravo Bourbon. This was sent to me by a viewer named Zach. Cheers, buddy. Okay. Master Angler is dropping a deuce right now. That's great to know. Ripline Fishing. I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm still wanting to try the GoPro. Who doesn't? Ripline yeah.
Justin's running his mouth. I don't appreciate that. Justin, I'm going to destroy you on Sunday. Justin is part of the Folsom Bass team, and he obviously thinks that he's a better fisherman than me, which is clearly not true because I've done a ton of videos with Justin.
Yeah. I like how the videos you do with Justin, you always say he just got out of prison and he's really looking to meet a girl or whatever, one of those.
So here's a funny thing. This actually happened. I did an opening where I said, Justin just got back from fixing like cleft pallets in like, South America. Justin got a comment. I forgot where he got the comment from, but somebody actually thought that I was serious. Oh, and it's something like, my sister just got out of medical school and she's going to go to South America.
Oh, wow. That's
and
bad.
I was like, oh boy, my sense of humor is obviously lost on the kids.
Ray Chappelle wrote, do you know that it's the year of the dog? I've been saying it's the year of the quack or of the duck because I am censoring myself this year. So when I'm doing a live stream, I have to say quack instead of curse. And I'm doing a quack sound to censor out all of the cursing in my videos just because last year I cursed way too much and I think Google didn't like it. So I should have done actually looked at what year it was, and if it was the year of the dog, I should have done a bark. That would have been way cooler. But I like the quack sound. You guys going to upgrade to a paddle kayak anytime soon? I'm guessing that Jeff meant a pedal kayak. I don't have any plans on upgrading, but I think Matt has some thoughts on that.
I am definitely upgrading to a pedal this year. I already know what I'm getting, and I'll just kind of spoil it right now. I am actually going to go with the Jackson Cruise FD and not the Kusa. There's a couple of reasons why, and I'll just kind of top line them real quick. The Cruise is the exact same dimensions as the Lure 11.5 that I'm in right now, and the weight is pretty much close to the same. And I car top, so that's why I'm not going with the Kusa, which is the bigger model, and I'm going with the Jackson because their pedal drive, all the working parts are actually above the water line, and essentially that flex drive you can just kind of run up onto the beach or run over a log. It automatically pops up. You're not going to ruin your pedal drive.
So you haven't gotten it yet. When are you going to pick that up?
So I'm not really sure when I'm going to pick that up yet. They have just shipped. One of the local retailers out here says they should have them in a week or two. I'm not in any hurry to get them, to be honest with you. I'm not fishing right now. I'm barely fishing. And to be honest with you, I really do. I mean, I made that one video where I bitched about the Feel Free lure. I really do love that kayak. And
yeah, it's a good kayak.
It's like one of those things, like, you buy a car or you buy, a house or whatever it is, and then you're there for a little while and you're kind of like, your way around it. You know where everything is, and it's like you get comfortable in that situation. I love the seat on the thing. I love the sonar pod. But like, I think to really kind of, I don't know. The next transition is a pedal kayak. Now I'm shooting for March. It might be later than that, might be earlier than that, but March is kind of the go-to date for me for that. And
is that why you don't want to fish the Shasta Bass Classic with me?
I don't want to fish the Shasta Bass Classic is because that lake is so huge. Like you need a trolling motor. No,
I know. I'm gonna do it with paddles.
I know. Well, here's the thing: is just like if the wind isn't blowing and the current isn't ripping, having a paddle kayak is fine, right? But it's those days that the current is just like ripping or the wind is just blowing that it would make it that much easier to have your hands free while you're trying to position yourself.
Yeah, I get it.
I really don't imagine that after I get a pedal kayak that I'll be going exponentially farther distances from where I would typically go. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I'm not getting a pedal kayak to go farther. I'm getting a pedal kayak to get better position.
He's getting a pedal kayak because he's lazy. I'm just kidding.
It's true.
Okay. Yeah. Next question. Horatio says, looking to buy a kayak. What's a good beginner one? And I'm going to say that around that $1,000 to $1,500 range, in that area, if that's what your price range is, the Feel Free kayaks are pretty darn good for that price range. If you want to try to spend less money than that, there's a kayak that I've paddled. There's two that I can kind of suggest. One's the Vibe Sea Ghost 110, and one is the Big Fish 120. I'm actually working on a review on that right now. And those are both decent kayaks. They're a little bit thinner walled, so they're not as thick as the Feel Free is. The nice thing about the Vibe is you get a paddle and a rudder with the kayak, and that's a pretty big deal. And I think you're around $829 for that. The lure is extremely stable. You don't have to worry about falling, tipping over, anything like that. But they can be a little bit slow. What do you think, Matt?
I think if you're gonna go with a lure and you have the extra money, get the 13.5. The 13.5 obviously tracks a little bit better. The 11.5 is what I have right now. It's a fat kayak. It's a short and stubby kayak. But at the end of the day, like Chris said, it's super stable. And whoever asked that question, like I probably would tell you too, is that like I would, if you're not close to like an actual paddle shop, the Ascend kayaks, which is Bass Pro's brand, the Ascend, like, 120s, those kayaks, they're tanks. They're big kayaks and they're heavy, but the price is right and you can tweak them out pretty good. They actually make a line where the whole kayak is already kind of wet wired with like electronics. So it's like kind of like almost like a plug and play, which is pretty cool as well. If I had to do it all over again and buy another kayak, I definitely would get the Feel Free lure, but I'd get it in the 13.5.
Gotcha. Yeah, I fished with a dude named Budo's Fishing. He has a little channel, and he's only kayak fished like a handful of times, but he has a kayak, and it's one of those the Bass Pro brand. What is it? Ascend?
Ascend, yeah, the Ascend brand.
Yeah, and it's like 120 FST or FTS, something like that. And I was looking at those kayaks when I was first thinking about getting into kayak fishing. I ended up going with the Wilderness Systems Ride 115X when I first got my first kayak. But I wouldn't really recommend that kayak. If you're in that price range, I would go for a lure. So I hope that answered your questions, Horacio. Ernie Williams said, how many cameras do you both use? Now, I'm guessing, Ernie, you're asking how many do we use when we're out on the water kayak fishing? I use two. One's usually on my head, and then I have another one mounted somewhere, either in front, behind, to the side, however I feel like using it that day. What about you, Matt?
So I use two as well. And they're the one in the front, which is the notorious crotch shot. That is a
I love the crotch shot.
Yeah, the crotch shot is awesome. As long as I wear dark pants, I'm fine. It's a Hero 3+ silver. It's not even a new GoPro. I've had it for a while. And the one on my hat, and the way that I wear it on I actually have a baseball hat that has like the integration thing in it. That's just a regular like original session. And for what I'm doing right now, that captures good enough video. I didn't want to go as far as mounting was concerned. I obviously wanted that front angle, but I also wanted the kind of point of view angle. And I really, really, really hate the chest cam, because the chest cam has got to be the worst angle ever, because if you hook into a fish, and even if you watch those bigger guys in the Guggen squad and stuff like that, the minute they hook into a fish, all you're seeing is their wrist and they're reeling it in. And it's just I agree. It's just like, that's stupid. You can't even get like a good scenic shot with that stuff. So I use two simply for the fact that it works. And, there'll probably come a time where I want to get like maybe the Session 5 because it's voice activated, and literally be able to like, session turn on instead of having to worry about that stuff. But two gets it done for me.
Right.
I don't even know where else to be honest with you. I don't know where else I would go with one. Like, where would I mount it?
Well, you could do it behind, like over the shoulder, like Greg Blanchard does, over the shoulder, which I kind of like that point of view. I kind of like the actual, what would it be? First person point of view, like on your head, because then I can turn around, and like if I'm fishing with somebody, I can look at them and I don't have to worry about like twisting one of the grips, you know what I mean? And turning the angle. So that's kind of cool. Getting back over to the comment section. Hey, where did I go? Okay. Justin says, lures are barges. Love mine, but dude, it is a beast to paddle. And that is the truth. Now, to be totally honest with you guys, I have taken my lure all over the place. I've taken it down rivers that have actual running rapids. I've had it on big lakes. I've had it out in the Delta in good weather. I've had it in really, really crappy weather. And it's a barge. And if you get one, Horacio, or anybody else listening to this, you need a rudder. You have to have a rudder on that kayak, whether or not it's the 11.5, the 10, or the 13.5. But if you have a 13.5 and you don't have a rudder, you'll be doing this all day long. You're just going to hate life, because you will paddle and then spin.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I did a video a week before I put the rudder on, and the title of the video was, I think I'm going to quit fishing. It was one of the windiest days on the Delta, and I launched out of Paradise Point, and literally the wind was just like, it was like a top, like you'd paddle and the wind would just blow you. The rudder on the 11.5 is even more crucial because it tracks even more poorly.
Oh yeah,
than the 13.5.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about that is that like if you're in an area that has current, you can position your rudder in such a way where you can ride the current down and fish the bank, almost
exactly.
like a trolling motor. And that changed the way that I fished certain parts of the Delta, because it was just like the rudder was crucial. It was just crucial. It really sucks just the fact that you have to buy. It's like an extra $230 from Feel Free, but it's worth the money at the end of the day.
Oh, totally, very much so. I totally agree with that. Ripline Fishing said he spoke to Feel Free. They will have the pedal drive for the 13.5 and a new cooler lid for the same price in about 2 weeks. That's what he was told by them. Actually, our local dealer, Headwaters Kayak out of Lodi, California, that's Matt and I's local dealer. They just got a couple of the overdrive units in, and they did some stuff. They have a YouTube channel. If you're interested in seeing what the install process looks like, you could check that out. They have a video of that. I'm not going to go buy it though. I have no interest in it. And I am going to fish 2018 with paddles, and I'm going to save up some money for a nice pedal kayak. I don't want to sell my paddle kayak just because I do enough river fishing that you can't do in a pedal kayak. But in 2019, I'll probably get a pedal kayak. So I'm actually recording a podcast tomorrow, Matt, with my buddy Dean.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about pedal versus paddle, and we're probably going to piss some people off. So all of you out there in YouTube land, you're going to want to listen to that podcast for sure.
Yeah. For me, I think, like I said, I'm definitely getting one, but like I might be right there with you in 2019. Like I just think that the Feel Free overdrive system was something that was launched at ICAST in 2016. And the minute I saw it, I didn't like it. Right. So they didn't build a pedal kayak. They built a pedal system to retrofit into a kayak already. And I think that was their initial intention when they first started putting out the lures with the sonar pod. And I think here's the thing: when they finally started arriving, there's one channel who's actually had it out on the water. He's a kid. His name is Carson something. If you look it up on YouTube, you can find it. Him and his dad did the install over Christmas. He actually has had it out on the water in an 11.5, and it rips. Like the kid rips it on it. Like he was going like 5 miles per hour.
Wow.
In windy weather, but like nobody else has had it on the water or actually installed it yet. They're pulling it out of the box and like, oh, I love this hard case. I'm like, what the am I going to do with a hard case for a pedal drive? And then another thing is that I bought the lure. One of the main selling points for the lure was the sonar pod. I like a clean deck. And
the through access for the transducer and all that.
And so, and that's one of the things that I'll have to sacrifice if I do choose to go to a pedal, is that like I'll lose that clean deck. But the whole handheld system for turning the way that they have it, which is like for Feel Free's overdrive with the retrofit, it clutters up the deck. Now there's like literally like lines running from the center console, and it just was like this doesn't look neat anymore. And Feel Free's lure with the sonar pod is a very clean kayak.
It is very clean, and that's one thing I like about it, that nice open deck. They are coming out with the Dorado, though, which is the kayak built around the pedal system. And that's actually essentially the same platform as the Big Fish 120. Yep. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Big Fish 120 is fast, dude. It is crazy fast. It is stable, but you need a rudder on that thing. And I mean, the minute you stop paddling, you start spinning. It's crazy. And a lot of it's because of that deep keel, That's what they call it, the cathedral hole or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
So let's hit back to some comments and let's just jam out some responses really quick. Had a Wilderness Systems, this is Justin, had a Wilderness Systems Tarpon 120 for 10 years. Unbelievable kayak for covering water, but can never stand in it. My good friend, Tom, the Barefoot Fisherman, he's been in a few videos. He actually fell out of one of those and they are not stable, but they are fast. He is actually selling a Tarpon 140, so that's a 14-footer, which is crazy fast. Crappy Killer says, Christopher, send me some subs. You know what? I can only say, if you're interested, go check out Crappie Killer. Other than that, I can't send you subs. It's not like I can like donate subscribers or anything like that. That'd be kind of cool, right, Matt? If you could donate subscribers.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Somebody said, who are the Googans? That's like John B. Flair, AP Basson, and
Lunkers
TV. I don't really watch those guys too much. I watch them here and there. They got into some drama with some people, and I thought it was kind of lame, and I just stopped watching them. So
yeah, because we're older.
Yeah. Ernie asked another great question. Do you use filters for the GoPro? I don't use any filters. Did you hear that?
What?
Okay, sorry, never mind. I don't use any filters for the GoPro. Do you use any filters?
No. So when I used to use my GoPro for skiing, I had a filter. Hey, Ernie, I'm riding up with Addison to Barrie on Sunday. I'll loan you my filters if you want to try them out. Just so
look at that. There you go. That's awesome.
So hey, because your brother asked me if I wanted to ride him to Barrie, and I said yeah. So I'll give them to your brother, and you can test them out. But I don't use them, and the reason why is it's one more thing to fiddle with.
Budo Fishing says, is there a rudder you can recommend for my Ascend FS12T? And Budo Fishing is actually the guy. We were just talking about you, brother. He's actually the guy I was just talking about that has the kayak. You should go check out his channel. If you guys like any surf fishing, like striper, that type of stuff, he does a lot of surf fishing in and around the San Francisco Bay. So check out Budo Fishing. I can't make any recommendation on that, dude. Matt, do you know anything about the Ascends and rudders and stuff? Like what would work?
No, I probably would. I probably wouldn't go into a Bass Pro and ask them that because they wouldn't know the answer either. Is it compatible? Does it have a rudder that you can put on? Like I don't even know.
I think there is a spot where you could mount a rudder. Budo, what might be good is getting on a forum like on Facebook, like Yakabas NorCal or one of those forums, and just saying, hey guys, I have this. Is there a rudder that's compatible? And I guarantee somebody has fished out of that kayak and would know the answer. I don't know it.
Yeah.
Master Angler asked, hey John, what's the podcast? Again, that's Yak Tactics. Dustin says, a lot of us bounced from Feel Free because of that cumbersome pedal drive, Native watercraft. Woohoo. Yeah, Native has some really sleek pedal kayaks out there. That Titan is just crazy. I saw Greg Blanchard basically tap dance all over that deck while I was fishing with him one day in the 13.5, the Titan. My buddy Bet fishes out of a Native with the pedal, and they're a quality kayak. So if any of you are looking for a kayak, maybe that's an option too. I think a lot of people bounced from Feel Frees because Feel Free did such a horrible job on the rollout of this pedal drive. What do you think about that, Matt? I know you have thoughts on that.
Oh boy. Yeah. So being that I've been in advertising for so long, look, it's when you launch something in 2016 and you don't release it until January of 2018 to the general public, and then you make certain tweaks and changes along the way that are different from the original idea and thought process, and it just takes so long, people just lose general interest. And in general, fishermen, all of us, especially bass fishermen, we are impulse buyers. There's no doubt about it. Like, I think I black out when I go on Tackle Warehouse. It's just like I wake up and the next morning there's a package there. So when you say we're going to do these things because you're trying to be competitive in the marketplace, and then you keep telling people spring of 2017, and then it's fall of 2017, and then it's like literally it's not there, and then you go radio silent. Now, I had an opinion on Feel Free because there was, and it's no longer there was a lure owners Feel Free group on Facebook, that
You just got banned from it. It still exists.
Does it really? Does it really?
You must have been banned from it, dude.
No shit. Was it really bad? Check on that.
I don't know, dude.
So
it's not lure owner, it's feel free owner.
No. It's the lure. It was.
Okay, everybody. Because of the mastery of Google Hangouts, I can show you my screen. So, bam, here it is, dude. Like, look, there it is.
Son of a bitch.
See?
Why was I banned?
I don't know. Did you see?
No, I was
so funny. That was hilarious. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be making fun of you.
That's actually a testament. That's a testament to my assholishness. I obviously pushed some buttons where someone's like, "Get this guy out," because I was probably stirring the shit. I'm like, "Where's this pedal drive?" It's okay because months ago I joined the Jackson page because my intention is to go to Jackson. And the only, I was pretty vocal about the feel free not doing the drive properly. And like I said before, you mentioned the Dorado. And if I didn't have to car top, and if I had the extra scratch and I had a trailer, I would be all over the Dorado as soon as it came. When they launched that with the integrated lights and everything like that, I was just like, I am all over that kayak. But my concern is that it's going to be 2020 by the time that thing comes out. And
I think that they're gonna have that out really quick now.
Do you think so?
They already have the body, and the whole design. They already have the seat, they already have the drive. They just need to all put it all together and market it. So okay, let's move on a little bit. PGH Bottom Feeder said, "I am back. What did I miss?" Master Angler said they're getting married. That's hilarious. Justin says Dustin is a traitor. Dustin says he is a traitor. He confirmed it. Ripline Fishing says he's in the bays in Galveston, Texas. Ripline, do you watch Magic Yacker? Horatio said, "Chris, I need more stickers for this new kayak I'm buying. Just let me know. I forget your address. I don't store all that information. Just shoot me a PM with your address and I'll get that sent off." Let's see.
Who's ever in Texas? Texas has got some great kayak channels.
Texas does have some great kayak channels.
Besides Shane. Is Shane is he in Texas?
Yeah, he's in the Houston area.
Okay, so there's a guy that I watch all the time, Texas Redfish Hunter. He's really a great channel. Him and his wife or girlfriend go out fishing all the time, but he's really tolerable. I like his content. It's not fancy. There's no music or anything like that. It's just him and out there fishing, which is great. There's a couple of really great channels out of Texas. I think that, the fishing down there, I'd love to go down there and fish for reds out of a kayak. I miss fishing for reds and fishing for snook more than anything in this world, I think. So,
yeah, I bet. Red fishing just seems like it would be freaking crazy. You know what I mean? I tried that one time and I failed miserably, but it was still a lot of fun. Crappie Killer, or let's see. Ernie said, "Don't bring some. He has some. Don't worry about that." You might have seen that comment. Crappie Killer said, "Have you ever met anyone out on the water kayak fishing that were really memorable?" So I don't know if you mean like met up and fished with anybody, or if you mean like actually you were out fishing and you ran into somebody. But like for me, I have met a lot of really cool people through kayak fishing. A few of them are, I'm talking to one. A couple guys are in the chat, and I mean, I could go through just a list of people that have become my good friends because of kayak fishing. So, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I think the bass fishing community, specifically in Northern California, whether it be kayak or on a boat or even on the shore, is second to none. There's always bad apples in every bunch, but like I said earlier in this live stream, I met everybody I hang out with and associate with and talk to is met through fishing, and so I'm actually pretty grateful for all the people that I met out here. And some of them are actually, including you, are really good friends. I mean, Chris and I talk all the time over text. Dustin and Justin, who are on here too, we talk all the time. So it's kind of like, it's interesting. It's just kind of like it bonds you together. It's just kind of like you swap ideas and you get out on the water. And, I think it's funny because every time you go fishing with somebody on the water, you're never right. Everybody thinks that you're like all huddled up in a group fishing right next to one another, and you're really not. It's kind of like one guy's over here, the other guy's over there, but it's like this camaraderie, and it's I don't have any obsessions that don't require waking up at 5 a.m, and so when everybody else wakes up at 5 a.m, and it's either to go skiing, to go hiking, to go backpacking, whatever it is, or go fishing, those activities are kind of interesting to me these days, I guess. But that's pretty much it.
I have a problem waking up at 5 a.m, as Budo can attest to, and you. But yeah, I actually catch way more fish in the afternoon and evening than I ever do at 6 o'clock in the morning. I think, I don't know.
Well, you had that stretch where you were like every night, like for like 5 days in a row, you were out in that spot and you were just like too dark to film. I mean, I saw some of the pictures you would text me, and I'm like, you're like, it's too dark to film, but I just caught this 5-pounder and the camera won't pick it up. And I'm like, yep, that sucks.
Yeah, dude, every night. Like I was just, and it was awesome because that's after work, you know what I mean? I'd be out after work and, put in an 8-hour day, hit the water at 5 or whatever, 4 or 5, and then fish until 10 p.m. And the bite be a little bit tough from like, 5 to 7:30, but then boom, right as the sun was going down, it would just light up. And I caught more 5-pound fish in the dark. I don't know, maybe not. I caught a lot of 5-pound fish this year, but I caught so many 5-pound fish in the dark when I didn't catch a fish that was 4 or better at night. I was like, what's wrong? What happened? Yeah. You know what I mean? And part of that, like I have to remind myself that, we're really, really lucky you and I to live where we live. Certain times of the year when the Delta shuts off, it's kind of a bummer, but we're really, really lucky to live so close to fisheries like Comanche, like the Delta, like Clear Lake, like Berryessa. My heart goes out to the folks that are, trying to do a YouTube bass fishing channel in Wisconsin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you were in Wisconsin, why would you be going for, pike and walleye and muskies? But still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a guy who's based in Arkansas who I recently started talking to a lot, who's got a YouTube channel, who kayaks fish as well. His name is Online Outdoorsman, and he's a really great guy. But his last video, I think he posted it today. He's in Arkansas, and he's got full-fledged like ski mask on and like half sea gloves, and he's freezing his ass off up there to catch little fish. We are really, really lucky to live out here because when the Delta kind of shuts off, is typically a month or two later the lakes turn on. Specifically the mother lode lakes when the thermocline and the turn happens. So and we're also blessed with spotted bass fisheries and smallmouth fisheries that are farther up north that I've never fished, but the spotted bass, obviously perform a little bit better in the colder weather as well. So.
Right. Yeah, totally. Somebody mentioned like if you're out on the kayak, you should be with somebody, you know what I mean? And that a lot of folks had died in their area that was crappie killer. I think there were about 3 in the Delta and Clear Lake, between Clear Lake and the Delta this year, that 3 fatalities that were kayak incidents. And a couple of those were people that were out with their kids.
Yeah. Well, that one guy chose not to wear a PFD, was out with his son. The kayak went over and his son had a PFD on, and he drowned trying to rescue his son. That was really sad. But this brings up something that's kind of interesting. Is like, I totally agree with what he said. Like you should be out there with somebody, especially when we deal with a big boat fishery like the Delta, right? You never know. People are assholes. They can't see you. They come up real fast, whether it be a duck boat or a bass boat. But, this is kind of relevant to everything, but discussing PFDs, I wear a typical bass boat PFD when I fish. I think I'm going to change that because of light of what happened with the FLW angler that was found today.
Yeah,
God rest his soul. Nick is his name. I'm really sorry for the family. That's really, really horrible that happened. But so my PFD is like a Mustang, and it's one of those ones where you hit the water and automatically inflates.
right.
But you got to check the CO2 cartridges. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And I have, I think a class 2 where there's a little bit of foam in the back, so it'll keep my neck above water. But if I'm unconscious, I think going out by yourself in a fishery, if nobody knows where you are, is a dangerous thing. I have, I always have my PFD on, and I go out a lot alone, and you do too. I think sometimes, don't you?
The majority of my time out is alone, just because I can't plan. Yeah, and I can't really plan that far out a lot of times. So, with the kids' schedule and all of that, it's like, okay, I can get out of work a little bit early today, so I'm gonna hit the water. That type of situation. But I, always wear the PFDs. If I'm out alone, I try to stick to areas that don't have super high boat traffic. Like that one area that I did the meetup at, maybe you saw one boat the whole time we were there. It's a great spot for me for night fishing, or evening fishing, just because there's hardly ever any boat traffic in there.
Yeah, and I think there's a false sense of confidence that I get fishing the Delta because the parts of the Delta that I fish are so shallow. But if a boat comes along and hits you, you're screwed one way or another. So,
right.
I like kind of like you. I would love, my schedule's a little bit more normal now, but before I would go on a Wednesday at noon. And who else can go with you at Wednesday at noon? Like, when you just get the itch to go. So yeah, going with people obviously is the safest bet, but I gotta be honest with you, I've put myself, I'm sure my luck will run out sooner or later, but hopefully it won't. Let me back up.
Yeah,
I've been in situations, not just in a kayak, but like a prime example is when I went snowshoeing last year to Peter Grubb Hut. I went solo. I was going to a hut that had 16 other strangers in it, but hiking the PCT in snowshoes in 4 feet of snow with a basic GPS, I got lost coming back, and I was ready to literally throw down a tarp and break out some fire starters and get a fire going. I mean, literally.
Really?
Yeah, there's a point where I actually panicked, and I was just like, this isn't right. And the GPS was just like, it was just kind of like this doesn't even seem right on the GPS. And I panicked just a tad. And then I just basically stripped down my pack, and I literally climbed to the highest point, and I figured it out, because at that time of year on the PCT, there's a ton of people that go snowshoeing just for the day. So there's like 900 blazed trails from the distance, and you can easily get turned around. And some of those blazed trails go into deeper canyons that take you to people's homes. So it was one of those things where my mother and father on the East Coast knew where I was. My wife knew where I was. They knew where the car was parked, and I had given the GPS coordinates of the hut. So there was like, if I did get lost or anything like that, that happens. It's always
It's really easy to get turned around, or to have something happen. I know we're talking about kayak fishing predominantly right now, but I have two sisters who they did the Wonderland Trail up in the Northwest, up in Washington, and that's circumnavigating Mount Rainier. And they took 10 days. Well, they were doing a training weekend up in wilderness area, and they actually had an accident and got stranded. And one of these days, I'll have to have one of my sisters or both of them come on, and we'll do a little live stream just to kind of chat about it. But like, I got a phone call saying, "Hey, you're from my brother-in-law saying, hey, the girls didn't check in, and we're gonna head over there." And this is like at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was out until 4 a.m. looking for them with my dad. And they got the sheriff involved and then search and rescue. And I mean, it got to the point where there were Black Hawk helicopters called in to come help. I jumped in my truck and drove. I left at 6 p.m. And got there at 6 a.m. and started looking, with a bunch of my cousins and family members, and they found them. They had a little incident where they slipped down a hill, stepped in some ice, and slid basically 300 feet down a hill and got stuck in a ravine. So
a real quick story. I went slot canyoneering with a high school buddy in Utah on the public lands of Utah. And, I can't remember his last name, Aaron, whatever, the guy who cut his arm off.
Oh, yeah.
So my buddy CJ and I were slot canyoneering in Robber's Roost, where it's basically where it happened to him. And he and I got turned around, and I had a platypus on me. You know what a platypus is? For a water bottle. And the grappling hooks in my backpack punctured the platypus.
Ooh,
and I didn't have any water, and we were like 5 miles away, and we got turned around. I had to scale stuff, and I wasn't in the best shape either. But it's scary. And I think there's a lot of great things that comes with technology, and one of those things are those SOS beacons, right? Used highly in backcountry skiing. I have one where you can actually, it's like almost like an antenna booster where you can actually send a text saying I'm okay. You can't have phone conversations, but like it's a GPS locator. And I think if you're going to do any backdoors or backwoods kind of stuff, and you're going to be solo, or even if you're with somebody else, if you can swing the financial burden that comes with those things, do it.
Yeah, my sisters now both have those, and my mom said, we're thinking about getting you one, and they never got it for me, so I kind of take it as they don't like me that much. So that's just one way of looking at it. We've been rapping for about an hour, dude. This has been awesome. Let's say quick fire, rapid fire, 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions, we'll stay on for a little bit longer, but we're going to start wrapping this up. To the folks that are taking off right now, thanks for jumping in, guys. It was really good. Good interaction on the live chat. Really appreciate it. You guys rock. Thank you to Matt for stopping by. And yeah, you guys are awesome. I have to take a leak. So Matt, the stream is all yours for about 2 minutes. Okay.
Go.
2 minutes.
Who's got questions? Ask questions. I'm going through the stream right now. And Chris, we trust. Anything. Ask me anything. Did I do any fishing in Georgia? Not really. And where I grew up was not too far from Lake Lanier. So I just really, I grew up in Georgia, but I went to high school in New York. So it's kind of one of these things where fishing kind of went out of my life. When I was a kid, I primarily fished in St. Louis with my grandfather because that's where my family's from. So yeah, not a lot of fishing was done in Georgia. I'm really hoping to get back out on the East Coast a couple of times this year and go fishing. Bucket list trip for me is fly fishing for tarpon down in Isla Morada. I really want to do that. I thought I was going to be able to do it this year. Probably not, maybe 2019. But like I said earlier in the live stream, I miss fishing for snook, for reds, for jacks. I mean, saltwater fishing is a lot different than bass fishing, but bass fishing really is awesome. It's fantastic.
Okay, really quick. What would you do for a Klondike bar, Matt?
cluck like a chicken, as the commercial says.
Okay. Justin's asking you what your number one bait is going to be on Sunday.
On Sunday, Justin, I will be throwing a whopper plopper all day. You know what? I full intentions of bringing 3 cranking sticks. I'm going to throw a spinnerbait, an A-rig, and I'll be throwing a deep diving crank. And my in last resorts will be a spoon and a drop shot.
Cool. Jeff asks, are you going to the Sportsman Expo in Sacramento next weekend? When is it? Is it the 20th? The weekend of the 20th?
Or is it? Yeah, it starts on the 18th. Starts this upcoming week.
I thought it was like the 27th.
No, it's coming up. So it's I don't know. Are you going? I was actually going to ask you that over text yesterday, but I never did.
I don't know. The next week I'm going to be in Vegas, so I don't know about. I don't know. I've got to really watch my funding. I'm getting a tooth worked on the 17th, which is going to be very fun.
So I don't know. Are you definitely going to SHOT Show?
Am
I not allowed to say that?
Pretty sure I am going to go to SHOT Show.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not gonna go as long as I had planned on it, but I'll probably go for a few days.
I think ISE is great. I've been every year since I've been out here, and I think the last year I went to go see more friends than anything else, and then the products. And if I go, it's going to be on the weekday, not the weekend.
Crappy Killer asked he said chartreuse is his favorite color. I can't talk right now. Chartreuse is his favorite color for crappie. What's your favorite color for bass, Matt?
Soft plastics, hard plastic.
It sounds like we're talking soft plastics.
So my go-to color is watermelon red magic.
Watermelon red magic
for everything. For
everything, huh? Okay. All right. Let's call it good. We've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes almost. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're watching the rebroadcast and you made it all the way to here,
you win nothing.
Yeah, you don't win anything but our admiration. So if you did make it all the way to here, let us know what you won in the comment section down below if you're watching the rebroadcast, because I'd be interested to see if anybody won our admiration. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up button. We'll see you out on the water, out in the wilderness, or somewhere. And thanks for getting out west with Chris.
Bye.